We need to straighten it out. Me and you and baby. Straighten it out. Yeah. Now how in the world do you expect me to understand? When I don't even know what's wrong. Baby, baby, baby.
Peace, 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 family. I hope y'all are doing well this afternoon, this lovely Thursday afternoon. Coming on here today to talk about the Capricorn full moon happening today. I think it's right exactly at 2:40 p.m. Eastern Standard Time today. I hadn't actually checked, so I'm not too sure about that, but yeah, man. Before we jump in, as usual, just want to go through a few different. Hey, Miss Divine, what is going on?
Can you hear me?
I can. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
It's so nice to hear your voice. I was like, Keisha? Oh, yeah.
I said, let me just jump on this Clubhouse. So for all y'all who don't know, I'm live right now on YouTube and my Facebook page as well. And I wanted to see what it was like to go on Clubhouse. I think this is my second time doing this on Clubhouse. I don't always remember, but yeah. So I'm just gonna
You're talking about the full moon in Capricorn?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Before I get into that, family, I can hear some background noises over there where you at, Miss Divine. So I'm just gonna put you on mute, my love. Can you still hear me? I hope she can still hear me. But yeah, family. So I really just wanted to do some updates. Tomorrow is the first official event for A Way of Life's event page. If you are not following us on A Wine Way of Life, please do. We'll be on with Miss Tierra from A Day of Royalty, doing sip and self-care tips. If you have not been on that page, family, I just did a review for her self-care products. Whoa. Like, I knew initially that when I reached out to her, it was going to be a beautiful thing. But for real, like, she is like I don't know. I just felt like her products was such a great match to do for our first event. They just are like a perfect combination together. Wine and the way her products are so elegantly put together. I don't know. So anyways, go check us out over there. I did a review for her products. We're doing a raffle giveaway. In case you didn't know, there's still time to pre-register. You just have to go to our contact page at awayoflife.net, and I'm putting that right here up here on the screen so y'all can see awayoflife.net to check out the contact page, and make sure you just put sip and self-care event, and you'll receive an email with further details. So I'm really excited about that. What else do I have? I got offered to go on Queen Dawn's show on YouTube, and we'll be posting about this, family. So whatever I miss here, you'll see it so long as you're following me on all my social media platforms, where she has asked me to come on to talk about astrology. And so what I'll be doing is focusing on the Gemini eclipse that we had on the 10th of this month. And I'll be doing horoscopes for all 12 signs. Beautiful soul. If you don't know who she is, please check her out. She does Reiki and cardology, amongst a whole bunch of other things. Absolutely love that queen. Um, and I have another passion event coming up. I hope. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. Energetically, people. Some people aren't handling this energy well, and life. We got life. Life is happening. And so fingers crossed that we still get to do that event. And that's for next month. And I think officially next month as well, I'll be officially announcing my partnership with, I think it's Sipped, Lit, and Painted. And I could have those mixed up. But this photo behind me, you guys, that you see here, I got this done from a dope queen in Vegas. I believe she's in Vegas. Don't ask me how we met. Social media has been putting me in front of people like crazy. I've never met her. But there was something about her paintings with the 444. So most people don't know. I haven't really talked about it publicly that 444 has been my number for a really, really long time. It follows me. I see it quite often. And it actually is within my address that I moved to a year ago. And so when I seen her paintings with her 4-4 signature in there, I had to reach out, obviously. And really just dope connection right off the bat. We got into it, and look, I mean, do I really have to say more? I mean, look what it says, good vibes. And I didn't have anything like super specific in mind. I just know that I needed that 4-4 in my life. And, I was just really looking for some upliftment at the time. And she was like, you know what, I got you. I know exactly what to do. And this was the beautiful concoction she came up with. And recently we are now in partnership. So she'll be doing painting, and I'll be providing the wine, obviously, with the Wine Way of Life. So please check us out there. I think I'll be announcing that officially next month. So I'm super, super excited about that. And I think that's it for the most part. Right at the tippity top of my head, because there's always so much it's a lot going on, family. But anyway, yeah, let's get on into it. This Capricorn full moon. I made this a time for energetic management. That was kind of what I was feeling as I was going through, looking at all the doing all the research for this. That was the message that came through the most. So every year, the Capricorn full moon is a check-in point for the middle and beginning of the year. Actually, Capricorn, if you think about it, ends the year and begins the year, right? We're in Capricorn season when that happens. So it's really about thinking about how far you've come. What are your priorities? And anytime you have a full moon, it's about changes and shifts, right? Letting things go. So looking back at the beginning of the year, what were your accomplishments? What have you accomplished? What has been done well, right? Because Capricorns can be very perfectionists, if you will. And what is no longer needed, right? What is not working anymore? What can you put on pause for now and set aside for whatever reason? And of course, immediately thinking about this, everybody's thinking New Year's resolutions, right? Unless you like most people who kind of gave up, right? Because actually, energetically, New Year's is not. It doesn't happen at the beginning of the year. And I did a video breaking all that stuff down. But for me personally, if you remember, if you've been following me long enough, I actually did my challenge for acorns. I posted something about. Everybody knows by now. I talk about it all the time. I am a huge Voice Watkins fan. And what I did was I was watching one of the young ladies that he plays on his video, where she was talking about how she made what I think enough money to buy a house in 1 year by investing in acorns. And I believe she was using the $5 a day plan. And you can do this however this works for you, right? And it doesn't even have to be to buy a house. But for me, I am a scientist at heart. I'm curious, George. Whenever I hear stuff like this, I just want to jump right in and try it out to see, what's the outcome. So I started investing January. I set it and forget it, right? I set up my amount in accordance to my budget, and I set that and forget it, and I think I'm at 1,000. I think I reached 1,000 already so far this year. So we'll see how that continues to play out. I did change some stuff around because, as most people know, again, if you've been following me for a while, I've been giving all these updates that I have officially quit my job. So I am no longer working. I am officially my own boss. And so I had to recalculate how much I was putting in too for my Acorns investment as I go through and test this process to see how well it works. So very interesting, and I'll be keeping everybody posted on that. I actually can't wait to see what the outcome is. But my mid-year check-in, if you will, was to just make sure that I'm aligning with my budget. And so on a overall scale, everybody could be kind of doing this with some things that possibly had came up for you in January. It would be really great if you knew exactly what area of life this was playing out for you in, or what area in life it's going to be playing out for you in now, to kind of help you go back or even start journaling as I do these check-ins, these full moons and new moon, to see what was going on for you so that you can keep track of, your goal settings or just things in life in general. However you want to use this tool, I just think it's a really great way to see or to stay up to date with what you got going on. So another thing about this Capricorn full moon is, since last year, January, Capricorn has not been in an eclipse. So this is the first time that Capricorn has not been eclipsed, making this a more stable, grounded energy. Even finalizing some things that you've done from last year could be coming up at this time too, which I mean, this might sound like so small and corny, but I actually had just moved here. So I was buying like all those little things that you need, like mops, brooms, buckets. And I remember that I bought a bucket. I think it was on Amazon. I bought a bucket, like a mop bucket. And when it came, it was broke. But for whatever reason, I got really, really busy. And I was like, I never ended up getting another bucket. But I just bought one today. So that's finalizing something that I had done even last year. That was coming up for me. And it's these little things, because on the opposite side of Capricorn is Cancer, which is about home and family. So a lot of these themes could be coming up as well. Just getting your house in order. We know that was a really big theme last year. So a lot of things going on around that could be coming up as well, just reorganizing, reassessing, those types of things. And again, taking out and putting in what you really need and what no longer fits, who it is, this new person that you could be inventing at this time. That was also another really big theme. But anytime you have the moon opposing the sun is an opposition, which is indicating that you need to meet somewhere in the middle with something somehow. And again, this is really going to play a really big role with where this is playing out for you and your chart family. So I'm only giving the general, but this can really be in any way, shape, or form. So you can feel pulled from home and family by work, business, or responsibilities. As those are just some of the things that Capricorn rules. And another way, or it could be the other way around, where home and family is pulling you away from work, business, and other responsibilities. Especially like you could have an elderly parent because Capricorn rules the elderly, or it could be an authority figure or some kind of governmental thing, because those again are just things that Capricorn rules. So you could have outside things from the government, restrictions, authority figures that are kind of preventing you. Like maybe you forgot to, I don't know, do your license. Your license is due and now you can't drive, or you're just having car issues in general and you can't drive and you need to do that to be able to do some housework, to pick up some things for the house. So some, any kind of authoritative issues in that kind of way that can be preventing you from doing things that you need to do around home and family. Even like doing your landscaping here can be considered home and family, or just redecorating or reorganizing, especially for all the people who are remote now, right? That's a pretty big theme that came up. And so how are you reorganizing your work area away from your home and everyday life area? And how are you managing that with your family? If your family's all home, I know things have opened up now, so maybe even that's what it is that it's become a little bit easier if you're doing that, or you have the opportunity to choose these types of things. Like maybe you're going back to work now, but you're only doing it like 3 days a week. I know that was something that was big just before I left my job, is that I had to go back to work, but I still had the option to choose what days I wanted to go in and which days I wanted to stay home. So some of that could be going on, and you could be getting some relief, I guess, is another way to look at it too, in that area of life. And you already know I have been really, really big on the conversation around money and generational wealth, and how are we building now with our families in this kind of way. So I know recently they had just been talking about this Juneteenth holiday thing. So and how, I think a lot of people really felt like that was a great thing. Of course, I disagree because there's no money involved, and it's just another opportunity that says we can go out and celebrate and give our money to wherever we go to get the tools to celebrate, and we're not putting it and investing it back into ourselves, our families, and, building our own economy. And that's a really big issue, I think, with the Black community. And so these things could be coming up too for people who are more on that path and you're trying to build. And obviously the first people you go to when you think about these things is building with your family. And how does that look? How are you moving forward doing those things? Are you coming together to have the conversations about what that looks like and building economically as a family? My sister, actually, this had come up with my family. My sister, I think she knew I was on here talking about her. She beat me. But this is not a negative thing. What we just really, I hope that through me sharing my stories that you get something from this and it helps you figure out things that are going on for you. But We had a really nice Father's Day celebration, by the way. That was amazing. But even within that process, I just sat there and I was just thinking to myself, like, I really wish that we could still celebrate, but turn this into something that was helping us better financially, and not just spending and wasting money and dancing and hooraying. And and then she asked me to go to the beach with her after that for another event, and that was just to go to the beach. And I was just like, but I just quit my job and I really want to build. And the only thing that I was thinking in the back of my mind was, are y'all gonna pay me for my time? Like, is that wrong? Is it? I felt so guilty, y'all. I really, really did. But at the end of the day, like, I'm not, getting money from anywhere else unless I work. So these conversations become real serious for somebody like me. And if nobody else is on that same path and they don't kind of have those same responsibilities, Capricorn, we're not on the same page thinking about this. And so if I say I don't want to go out, then I start to feel really bad. And all these keywords of poverty, thought consciousness, I'm really trying to change the way I think about these things too, because I think it brings a negative connotation into the discussion, but still nonetheless very real, that people were just so okay with having the celebrations and going out and spending money, but not really focusing on, the goals that it takes to complete these bigger goals, which is money ultimately, is the foundation to that. And how do we kind of bring that back? What kind of things can we do to learn how to come together? And I think I talked about a few of these things on some of my other videos. Like in the African community, they have things called susus. So where people get a pot of money together and then they pass that pot of money down after, I don't know, say everybody's supposed to put in $500, and I'm making it up. It could be anything. It could be $20, right? And there's 6 people. So after all 6 people put in that $20 or $500, at the end of that, then they pass it on to somebody and let them do something with that money and make that your celebration. Make that the reason why you come together, and what that looks like within your family. Or, going back to read Dr. Claude Anderson's Powernomics, and kind of learning how and what that means for the family as you grow and challenge yourselves to build with other people. And then obviously, you got your family that's not family, right? So the groups and things that you're connecting to, making sure that you're seeing and connecting with the people who are doing the things that you want to build on within your life. But also, really, I can't stress this enough, is to not make our family members and people who are not quite there yet, make them feel bad at the end of the day, that, your situation and circumstances are just a little bit different. And so how can we meet in the middle? And so I agreed to do a video chat, Yeah, just video me in so I can see it. Let me see the beach. I want to see the beautiful beach for about 20 minutes or so. And just having those kinds of conversations on what they look like. Because at the end of the day, ultimately for me, I can't speak for anybody else, but I certainly would love to build with my family. Don't get me wrong. I have met some amazing people across the globe that I am so grateful to be building with, and look forward to continuously doing that. But at the same time, family, I'm so tired of struggling right now, like unapologetically. I'm so uninterested in just having frivolous conversation. If we're not talking about how we're going to be building or healing, even, because good Lord knows that's a necessity in this process. I'm so bored. Like, I'm so uninterested, with the most respect. I mean, the utmost respect, because I understand that there's levels to this, right? And people are just in different places. And I have to find it in my heart to find the middle, and meet people where they're at and contend with them where they're at. And it's hard. I'm not going to lie. It's really been hard for me. especially to stay away from those ideologies. We have to be mindful. We have Pluto in Capricorn and Neptune in Pisces, which kind of brings up these ideas of, like people infringing or pretending even that they're happy for you when they're not, or even feeling inferior, Pluto, about the fact that you're leveling up and you're trying to do better in your life and they're not. And I really, again, I need to make myself so clear that I hate that I'm even having to say these things in relation to speaking about my family or anybody that you could be relating to or connecting with, right? But it's there, right? Like the energy is really there for it, is to be mindful, and make sure that you know who you're connecting to and why, and making sure that you're having those conversations, again, with the utmost respect, right? And so how are you doing that? How are you bringing those things consciously within your mind as you build within this process? Because it's a serious thing. And I don't even think, honestly, family, if you notice people, secretly saying like a good luck or whatever, and you feel deep down that perhaps that they're not even really meaning it. Honestly, family, at this juncture in our life, the one thing we absolutely cannot ignore is that, like, why does it have to be that? Why can't it be like that they just want it to, but just don't know how, right? Like, how I know I'm still struggling with some stuff in my life that I still just don't know how to do. Like, I have the information, I have the tools, and I'm still trying to, like, break it down in my brain to make it make sense. And then, you have to ultimately practice that on a consistent basis before it becomes a habit and a belief. And then, like, there's just so many different things, right? But I wanted to be honest and have that conversation, right? Because I'll be having these conversations on different platforms and certain people will be bringing these things up. And I'm just like, I want to be mindful of that too. Like, you're absolutely right. There are some people out there who may not really wish you well. I don't even want to give that any energy. I'm really trying to change the way that I look at it, right? Because, like, we are just we're not in a good place when it comes to elevating and even understanding what that means, right? Because they're definitely not teaching that class publicly. It's definitely not in our society that we see every day. So yeah, it's there, but can we be more realistic about that from where we stand as well? And it could just be that you bring out the fear in them, or you remind them of the things that they know that they want to do. But again, they don't know how to do that, or it scares the crap out of them. It's a scary thing to think about not having to work, or, like I was reflecting on this, and I was thinking about how I kept saying, the government has fallen. How are you going to survive? Like, that was a trigger warning. And, I really had to step back and think about that. Like, I don't want to put those types of things out there in the universe like that. I really want to make sure that I'm even challenging myself to look at that in all different kinds of ways, but to be realistic about it, so whole long-winded thing about that. But you definitely want to look at, again, where Capricorn is falling in your chart to see where this is coming up for you, family. Whatever that can be, you might be seeing things differently, right? Capricorn rules productivity, responsibility, moving ahead, what needs to get done. And much like Aries and Virgo can be kind of workaholics here. So where are you what part of your life are you doing that in? And balancing out that energy, where this is definitely going to show where you're dedicated, though, and committed to the tasks in front of you, which I actually really kind of liked. It kind of gave me some posy vibes when I've seen that. I was like, oh, I like this. Because I need that. I could be bouncing all over the place. I'm a double air sign, so, sometimes it's hard for me to focus on one thing. But this full moon you can be getting organized, which is why I played that song. I like that intro song. But everything I have, so organizing everything you got in front of you, what's priority, making an outline, what are your day-to-day tasks. Shout outs to V. I hope I'm saying her name right. I believe it's V Roberts. I'm taking a marketing and branding class right now. In light of my new journey, just to make sure that I'm crossing all my T's and dotting all my I's, and learning so much about being organized on my content and making sure that I have things all set up. And then for time management, we're talking about here with Capricorn, or energetic management. I changed it because it's all about my energy for me right now. And how am I making sure that I'm using all the necessary platforms to schedule? They have like those little tools where you could schedule your content ahead of time. Oh my God. Let me tell you something. Let me tell y'all something. I have been freeing up time. You understand me? And I'm just getting started. It feels really good. It's a pain in the butt. In the beginning, I'm not going to lie, because you really have to think it through. But be patient with yourself if that's your goal. And it doesn't even have to be around, your content for your business. It's just easier for me to speak from that perspective, because I am all about my business. But this could be in your personal life too, your day-to-day things, like what are you doing on a day-to-day basis? What do you want to come home to, when you're at work? So are you taking out your mails in the morning when you leave the house if you have to go to work, and so that it can be ready? Or are you preparing on the weekend to do full-time mails for the week and have that already prepped, to save time, so when you get home, you can actually sit down and not think. Ooh, I love a junk TV show. I love it. I love it. I love when I have time to just sit down and not think, and I get to watch junk TV. That's my favorite free time thing right about now. But really prioritizing your day in that way to help energetic manage your life, what's important in your daily life. And I've just been working very heavily on that, and it's been fun. Actually, I've really been learning a lot, and I've learned to appreciate it. So if you're into that type of thing, V Roberts, I believe. People don't quote me. I'm not a good with names, but she's definitely on my A Wine Way of Life page. And the class wasn't that much. I think it was like $137. Not too bad for 30 days. And she does a whole bunch of other stuff. So if that's not your poison and you need help with other things, check her out. She might be the one for you. I absolutely love her. But, and then we have Saturn square Uranus. This is where we're willing to make changes and being open to the idea of what we have to work on. I really like this energy too, especially with Saturn retrograde. This is about doing less again. So it's just going back to managing your time energetically, especially because Saturn is currently in Aquarius. So this is all for the future, planning out your life. What do you want this to do? So this is really screaming to me about money. I've been thinking about just doing the math and playing around with some numbers and scenarios had I stayed at my job, and what the retirement would look like. And I have one in particular friend who I'm gonna miss dearly, although we could still be friends, but you know how it is once you leave a job. And she's at retirement age, and all she kept saying was, that she doesn't have anything, but she's ready to go. Like, she's like, I don't have it in me anymore to continue doing this job. I need to be doing something more lax, less strain. And she can't even afford to do that right now. I can't stress enough how much I feel like I've been talking about finances and like shoving this down people's throat, but I really genuinely think on a bigger scale, this is really, really what this future planning stuff and all these transits for this entire year, what this is really all about, especially with Pluto and Capricorn. Uh, Pluto rules the eighth house. This is about your residual income. This talks about, do you have money set aside? Are you saving? Are you investing? Um, uh, just real important, family. Real important. So those nice little stimulus checks folks are getting, which I understand they're not available to everybody. But if you are getting any kind of additional money, making sure you're taking great strides in doing a budget and knowing where you can save, and remembering investments gives you free money. So if you are putting money in there, I am a testament. I'm telling you right now, I've only been doing this for a year. And I think right off the tippity top of my head, I've actually made more than what I've actually put in on each of my investments. I can see it visually. I can go into my account and it's going to tell me how much I put in and how much I've accumulated with funds. I know that we got some undoing to do there and how we think about investments, but I'm here to tell you it's a beautiful thing. If you don't have life insurance, how are you managing that? Who was it? Actually, Miss Divine and I vibed well on that. I hope you're still there, Queen. I'm sorry I want her to say something though. But woke.
I'm still here.
Okay. We actually had a great discussion and realized about Billy Carson. The book that he wrote is Woke Doesn't Mean Broke. And let me just tell you something, family. This dude is amazing. Okay? He actually just did a live on Brother Rich's channel talking about how he's giving away his car. And I think that was about 6 months ago. Don't quote me on that. It could have been 8 months ago. I really can't remember when exactly his book came out. I think it was sometime last year, the end of last year. And he was talking about how he had bought a car that he could rent out. And he gives all these tips in this book, family. Broke Doesn't Mean Woke by Billy Carson. And now he's at the point where he's giving that car away. I think he said for $50. And the fact that he could even do those things are just some of the testaments to, like, we've got to change the way we think and believe in this process, that this is, to be wealthy does not have to be this negative connotation around it. And he's actually played a really big role in helping me see that from a different perspective, because even though he has like his own Facebook page, what is it? I think it's called Unite the 99. And he gave away, he actually gives away a whole bunch of stuff. But one of the things when I signed on that he was giving away was free tickets, free plane tickets to go a round trip to travel. And it could either be for a week, tropical, international, maybe might be a better way to say that, or in the States, right, which was just for a weekend. And I think I talked about this when I talked about the travel and stuff that I was doing with becoming a travel agent, and how I would be able to do the same as I build that platform to be able to give away tickets. And that was just one of the things. Now, believe it or not, family, at the time, I actually wasn't even thinking about doing travel. It just reflected. I just happened to be reflecting on it as that opportunity came up for me, even though it was one of my goals. And I was like, oh, shoot, I never even thought of it that way. But if you guys haven't checked out my video when I talk about how multi-level marketing programs can really help you, especially if you're struggling and you really don't have a family or a group of people to work with on this process, because what I love about the multi-level marketing programs is that they come with a group of people to help you. And then you have your agents who help you. And it's all about building a team. And I wasn't doing it for the sake of doing it. More so really anything to help me change my mind and the way I thought about building, because like I said, this is something that I'm also struggling with too. So I'm challenging myself as a business person to stay honest, to make sure that I'm doing those types of things so that I can come back and talk about them and hopefully be proof to show people that these things do really work. And I know that we got some issues with a lot of these things because of what we've been taught. And to each his own, take it if it resonates, and if it doesn't, leave it where it's at. But I don't know. It's just one of those things that just keeps coming up with these transits. It's almost like it's banging it in my head. So that's why I keep bringing it up whenever I talk about it. But another thing here was just working too much and overworking ourselves. This one was really tough for me too, because look at the position that I'm in, and if I'm not working too much, I can tell you right now, somebody ain't eating, right? And so I know, especially us as spiritual beings, that we get so caught up in making sure that we're doing self-care and making sure that we're taking time on. I don't want to make it seem like that it's not important, but I do think that it's important, again, to reassess and reevaluate when it's time to do that, why we're doing that, and to even give ourselves like shorter goals, as opposed to maybe like 2 goals that might be too big, right? I remember when I first had my son, and I actually didn't want to go back to work there. That was back in 2016, family. And what I was doing was Uber. And I really thought in that moment, I was like, I'm never going back to work, because I took a year off in general because I had the baby. And I didn't like the idea that I had to go back to work and send the baby to school so early. I didn't want to do that, but I needed to work, right? So I was dependent on my mom and my sisters and my dad to babysit. So I wasn't really able to do Uber the way single people can if you don't have any kids and you kind of don't have that. And you can actually see the difference too. But I still was making, if you could believe it, little old me was still making enough money to survive on a week-to-week basis, which I was like, that was motivating. And empowering. I was like, I'm not going back to work. But then, it just went back to the fact that I didn't have a plan. I just happened to do it and fell in love with it. And I was like, oh, this is what I'm going to do. And but then the car broke down because I was using it too much. And if you're not giving it regular maintenance, you don't really have the support to do that. So I was like, all right, well, I'll do the what do you have, like an option to like rent a car or something like that. And I was like, okay, so I'll do that instead, and not use my car, thinking that it was going to help the situation, and actually got me into a lot more debt than actually ended up helping me. And again, it just went back to, I didn't have a plan. I didn't have the money to support any of those, nor did I have the time to do it, right? Because my mom, my dad, and my sisters, even though they were a great help, but it was just still a small period of time to be able to do what I wanted to do. So it was like, damn, how do I get past that, that hump, so that I can have that additional money to make sure that I'm doing those extra things that I needed to do in order to be successful doing that. And the truth is that I just didn't have it. And I didn't have the support to do it. And I refused to send my son to school beyond not knowing how to say, somebody hit me, somebody touched me, those important things that I think, you should have that kind of rapport with your child before you send them off into daycare. And so, I lost on that opportunity, and I had to end up going back to work. And so I did it. I continued doing it for the little time that I did, even though I was building up just another debt outside of my student loans, which I'm not happy about. I don't want to talk about it. All right. It stresses me out. But just to think about it, it wasn't. It was one of those things that just reminded me, like, the having a financial foundation and your multiple streams of income is where these things really begin to play themselves out. So now, if I wanted to do something like that, now that I'm in a better place to do that, because I have started an investment, I took all that stimulus money, y'all. You hear what I'm saying to you? I took all of it. I don't think I spent a goddamn dime. And I put that all into investments. So now I'm at a place where I can pay my bills with my investments, right? And so that's the long-term fruits of investment. You can use that money to do all those other additional things. And it's really been just a beautiful experience, family. So again, I'm sharing, just hoping that somewhere, somehow, that I'm shedding some light on how and why money is. I really feel like money is a bigger deal when we talk about a lot of these things, and anything more than ever. And not just because money is important, but I really feel like America is not in a good place. I'm surprised things have not come out yet, actually, just talking about super inflation. And I shouldn't even say that because I don't watch the news. Maybe it has. But if it has, believe them. That's not a lie. Like, we are not in a good place financially. I actually did a video about Pluto and Aquarius. Family, go check that video out. Again, this is not fear mongering. I'm not trying to trigger anybody, but I am going to say trigger warning. Just be mindful going into that video, because I'm talking a lot about the breakdown of America. And I'll be doing another video doing the Pluto return for the country. So, and I'll be breaking all this down, but just a little bit so that you know what it is I'm talking about. Remember, Pluto, whatever Pluto touches, it breaks it down to its smallest form to rebuild it back up. And right now, America is having its Pluto return. And this is not a good thing, because Pluto's in Capricorn. And Capricorn is all about governments, systems, structures that we know. First of all, let's give a hurrah for the fact that this needs to happen. But then on the flip side of that, it's a double-edged sword, because we're not in a position, we are not prepared for that. You know what I'm saying? Financially. And, unfortunately, that just means that a lot of people, there could just be a lot of devastation there before we see the benefits of this process. And it could happen in various different ways. It doesn't have to be so bad or sound so bad. But just check out the video, family. And again, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. And know that I'm trying to enlighten and not put fear into anybody. Another way to think about this and the importance of, like, goal setting, just a short story. And I promise y'all, I'm almost through here. I'm going to give you the rest of your day back. But I took a class, maybe about 10 years ago now, where it was a arts empowerment class, if you will. And it was based on, dreaming big and having goals to do your business. And what they did was they had professional artists to come in and listen to our stories as we completed that class on our goals that we have for whatever business we wanted to start. And they began to draw out on a piece of paper what that dream was for us as we finalized that class and talked about our goals. And I can't make this up, family. I wish I still had that video. I need to find a way to get back into my iPad, but I had the picture of the video. And back then, my business was working with, if you've heard my story, if you heard me talk about my story, I worked with the prison population. And I had, like a little computer. The lady drew like a little computer with me helping people at the computer as a coach for men and women in prison. And you guys all know that ended up becoming fruition for me. And it didn't happen overnight, I want to say if that I took that class, maybe I was still volunteering at the time. Actually, I hadn't even started doing the work or even gotten offered that consultant partnership that I had. But I can't make this up. The moment it dawned on me that I had that picture, I hung it up right in my room. I'll never forget it. I'll never forget the day that I had that epiphany. I was like, oh shoot, I just happened to be sitting on my bed, and I looked up at that picture and I was like, holy crap, like I'm actually doing that. Like I was doing what I had planned in that class. And that really changed my mind. Like that changed my life in the way I thought about how important it is to plan and have goals and goal setting and mapping and things of that nature. And so I incorporate that in my class, which is open enrollment now until September, for your life path. And so a lot of the times what I'll do is have a life path class. I've actually changed it since because I have so many other things going on, but to help people do the same thing that I learned in that class, but I do it using astrology. And so it's just based upon, learning those placements within your chart and again, mapping it out. So you'll come out with your own map, your outline of your goals and what it is you want to structure. And then at the end of it, we do a collage. And that collage will be based upon your finished product. What is your goal? What's your mission in this lifetime? And I'm super excited about that class. I had 2 that I completed successfully so far this year already. And I just put it off because I have a lot of things going on now, but that class will be it is open enrollment. You can find all the information on my website. Again, that's awayoflife.net, and life is spelled Lyfe. If you go to my coaching page, and actually, if you subscribe and pick the Life Path Astrology class, and you'll sign up, you'll receive an email for further details. I can't stress enough that when I impart that to you, that came from a very real place, and it changed my life. And I've been using that process ever since, even down to the point where I'm now no longer working. And I promise you that these things are subjective. They almost never happen the way that we think, but it's great to, make that connection and align with that energy to, let the universe know that you're ready for something more and that you're looking for more, that, you're ready to evolve within your purpose, your mission in this time, and whatever time that is for you specifically in your chart. And it's a beautiful process. I actually love it. I still have a lot of people coming back to me, giving me feedback and letting me know the great things that happened to them. And I actually got invited to speak live at that nonprofit organization where we was to share that very story along with another young lady. I don't know if the video's out. I think it's called CWE. I don't know if they put a video out on it or whatever, but maybe you can go to the website .org, cwe.org to check it out. But it's just crazy sometimes how life works when you do take the time to set your goals and, put that energy out there to the universe to let them know that you are ready for more. So what decisions are you making? Where are you decompartmentalizing, Virgo? Another way to look at this is that you can put it off, right? Because everything's retrograde right now. So if something's coming up right now and you seem to be running into a lot of different blockages, don't let that deter you, or don't think of it as this wasn't meant for me. And possibly it is, right? It could be both ways, but just set it aside, right? Until you can give it your full attention, what have you. After, assessing if it's really meant for you. But it could also just be that you got to do more work in the background before you present it to the world. And so with retrogrades, a lot of the time, what it forces us to do is to go inward. And another way to look at being inward is to, doing like the necessary work behind the scenes. So you're still planning, right? And putting things together, mapping it out, doing the research, whatever it takes to do whatever it is you're working on. And the reason that I say that is because this is also trining. Saturn will be trining the North Node in Gemini, and we have to remember the North Node is our purpose on a global scale, as a collective and personally. Plus, Mercury in Gemini was retrograde, and that just went direct yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. And so somehow, some way, this energy is connecting, and it's a trine. Anytime there's a trine, this is a positive aspect. And so I would definitely not sidestep anything that you might have going on. Just know that just like with everything that might be coming up for this Capricorn full moon from last year, and even the beginning of the year in March as well. Another way to look at it is that any new things, you're just going to have to set aside perhaps for now. And those opportunities will come back up towards the end of the year when this energy becomes direct. So again, just being really patient with yourself, especially for Saturn. You got to remember, family, Capricorn is all about long-term goals and longevity over time. And it brings you blessings when you do the hard work to really build those things and prepare them for success before you present them to the world. Let's see what else we got. I'm almost done here, family. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate y'all showing up. I see some people in the comments there. I've just been jabbering my lips. So all this information we're reassessing from the transit from the Mercury in retrograde. We got enough information from there. So again, it just might take you off your path for all the new stuff that you might have been working on. And again, this can always come up in many different ways, but that could just be one of the things. Any networking opportunities could be coming up. Anything that you was working on in the past could be coming up. Making sure that we're setting realistic goals. So you can always check back in every 6 months. That's the reason why I do these full moon and new moon videos, because it really helps me. I actually even started making sure that I post those too, like what was coming up. So I make myself go back and listen to my own videos, which isn't always easy, but it has been really, really helping me even get more structured with my goals in my personal life, going back and listening. But the Mars opposition to Saturn, because Mars just wants to do whatever it wants. I really didn't want to talk too much about this because it was a little bit on the negative side, because Mars is in Leo right now, and so it could be a lot of pride going on with some of the things that are coming up. Not asking for help or being afraid to ask for help in some kind of way. Just be mindful of that. You are not meant to do this. I cannot stress this enough, family. You do not have to do this alone. In fact, I highly recommend that you don't. Find some people you can trust. Find some groups where you can go that, again, are reflecting the changes that you want to see in your life to help you, remind you. Anywhere you look and turn, these things should be in your house. So if you don't do goal setting, do small quotes and post them everywhere in your house that you go that you want to see on a frequent, consistent basis to check in. With yourself, to keep you honest, because you can think them up. That's a part of the process. You can always think them up and have these great ideas, but then you got to write it down, right? And then you got to set up a plan and start planning around those things, right? And then you have to start taking some action steps. And this is going to look different for everybody. So really, you can listen to about 10,000 different people who are going to tell you all different types of things from their perspective. But it's always important to remember, and this is why I like astrology, not to say that astrology has all the answers. It's not what I'm selling here. Um, but to just remember that it aligns you with you and who you are, and not about what society says or what some other person who has probably some very valid points about whatever it is that you're working on. But this is for you. So this is the way that I think astrology is going to become really popular or mainstream in some kind of way, especially as we move more into these air placements and Aquarius transits. Getting to learn your astrology and knowing where these things are playing out for you are going to help you focus on you, so that you know you can make the difference between what somebody else is saying. You're like, oh, okay, yeah, I got that. But then you go back to you and you do your thing and you're like, but this is what, you know what I mean? And write that down and jot that down, and then reassess and reevaluate your goals and your dreams, you know? And then we have Gemini sextile Mars. I believe this is really going to bring answers to things, talking things through and writing them out. Any kind of communication with Gemini. And it's a sextile. Anytime the planets have sex, it's great for us. One of the readers that I listen to says that all the time, and I think it's absolutely hilarious. But anyway, family, I'm not going to keep you much longer. I hope and pray that something I said here today changed your mind and is helping you in some kind of way. I love and appreciate every single one of y'all. I don't say that enough. I can't even stress how much I appreciate y'all coming through here time and time again, listening to me jabber and yell about this stuff. But let me just actually go see if there's anybody in the chat saying anything. Yeah. Wow, I missed a lot. Oh, I'm sorry, family. I don't know why I did that. Actually, my brain. Peace Queen. Hey, Rebel. How you doing if you're still there? Partnerships are needed. Yes, ma'am. What do you keep touching? I'm so intrigued. Wait, what? Oh, I'm mad. I missed that. I want to know more. Miss Rebel, you got to DM me. Jamaicans have the same thing. It's called, oh, really? So the susus it's a cultural thing. I presume so. I think Spanish people have something that they do too, and I don't really know what it's called, but we definitely need to get more of it. That's my next plan, to start scheduling posts. Yes, ma'am. It's changing my whole life, family. Hey, Afro, if you're still there, how you doing, King? Magical Mermaid, how you doing? Oh, I love when I think I just like saying her name. That's a brilliant name, Magical Mermaid. Wonderful to catch you. Thank you so much. April saw the largest number of people quitting their job. Really? I didn't know that. I did not know that. I'm actually going to be doing a post on that too. What are they doing now? That's a good question. I think they all started their own business, to be honest with you. A building in Florida collapsed today. Really? Wow, I did not know that. Wow. I mean, do I have to say any more? Right? Miss Rebel was tripping off of that too. Having dreams and goals suppressed by parents as a child makes it difficult for me as an adult. I bet. Yeah, that's a tough one. Yeah, write it out and ask for forgiveness. Gemini, I know that we're not in Gemini season anymore, but Gemini is still in Mercury until the first week of July. Family, release some of this pain. Please, especially at the full moon. Full moons are all about releasing. Let it go. Write it out. You know, you can do the angry one where you write and say what you really wish maybe perhaps you hadn't had a chance to say. And you don't have to show it to anybody. You don't have to talk about it to anybody. You take that process and let that be your personal healing. And then once you release and let that go, give it some time, sit with it, revel in it, respect it, and then you start to sit down and think about, okay, but what did I learn? And where do I want to go from here? Writing is such a great healing tool, especially when it's like outside things that you don't have control over, right? Because we can't make people apologize, But thank you so much for sharing that, sweetheart. I find happiness helping others with anxiety issues in their day-to-day. Amen. Amen. I would like to have a great day, everybody. Oh, thank you. Thank you. This makes me believe even more that I can achieve anything. I know that's right, Afro. You better talk about it. You better talk about it. Thank you again, you guys. I'm sorry I wasn't reading the comment. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. I felt that moon energy last night. I bet you can always feel it 2 weeks before and 2 weeks after. And if you are a Capricorn, or if you have strong Capricorn placements, or wherever the full or new moons are taking place for you, you can usually always feel those things, for real. It's very true. I bet. I know I've certainly been feeling them, but I haven't even really been able to consume them the way I want, because I got about like 11 things going on. But y'all know I could keep y'all here forever. I could do this all day. Again, I love and appreciate you. Thank you so much for your time today. And I hope you all have a blessed day. Peace.